deal and help them award the person they choose. So however it works best, we will start that this year.
If you use the Education Foundation, they get a percentage
I
of
was
it.
gonna say, we don't.
So I wouldn't involve them in anything.
They just do the selection, money will go directly to the individual.
I need to clean up the resolution. Per Bob Bowman, I make a motion, we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. You've answered all the questions, Bob. Any further discussion? Call the roll, Tammy.
Hurley. Aye. Tinker.
Aye.
Satterfield.
Aye.
Whitfield.
Aye.
Cullen.
Aye.
Duff.
Aye.
Shaver.
Aye.
Waller.
My wife is a covenant employee, just so people know, but aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears.
Aye.
You gotta read the thing,
All right,
dude.
pass it down here,
You
Tinker.
gotta read it.
Yeah,
Oh,
you have
conscious,
to.
You actually have
everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, that motion passes.
Hang on, hold on.
You wanna read it?
No, it doesn't
No.
yet, you know.
They don't want you to read it.
Because he is.
Okay,
Or his wife.
motion carries.
No, literally, you
10-0.
need to read it out loud.
My former brother-in-law works there. Does that get me in any trouble?
And I'm delaying using your facility as long as I can.
Are you clocked out now, Bob?
Mr. Chairman, may I be excused?
Please.
You are excused, and the Covenant people,
And
thank
take
you
all
for
the
your
other riffraff with you there.
Thank you.
Bob, Mike, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hurley, too.
Thank you.
Bob, thank you for getting it done.
We're excited and we will not disappoint you.
Thank you.
We are too. Thank you.
Okay.
Jim, you don't want to sit in that bond? No.
Neither do we. We can make that happen real fast too.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, next up is the county flood damage prevention resolution. I don't have to ask Jim to reread it.
I make a motion, we approve.
We got a motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Tammy, call the roll.
Mears.
Aye.
Hurley.
Aye.
Tinker.
Aye.
Satterfield.
Aye.
Whitfield. Cullen.
Aye.
Duff.
Aye.
Shaver.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
Brewster. Aye.
Okay.
Thank you,
Under
Mr.
Mayor Bradshaw,
You clock out now,
you
Jim.
can clock out and head home.
Catch Bob Bowman and ride with him.
I got one question. Can we have a 25-foot flag lots in this county?
If you can do 5 acres or greater, you only need 25 feet of road frontage with your
What's
flag
that?
lot
I don't think
lot.
the
Thank
TV's
you.
on there trying to get Kelly.
Y'all have a good one.
Oh,
You
thank you.
too.
All right.
Kelly.
Okay, Mayor Bradshaw is under the weather tonight. We've done the Fort Loudon Medical Center transaction related to the expansion. Next up is a TOSHA
Make a
resolution.
motion, we approve the TOSHA resolution after my conversation with Brian Brown.
Second on the motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the TOSHA resolution. Any further discussion? Okay, Tammy, call the roll.
Tinker.
Aye.
Satterfield.
Aye.
Whitfield. Cullen.
Aye.
Duff.
Aye.
Shaver.
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears.
Aye.
Hurley.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Mike Campbell, you're up next.
1 second, just 1 second, Mike. I'm sure Mr. Ayers is here for our $7 million refinance.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Would we want to let Mr. Ayers go before, and then Mr. Campbell's on, we don't have to pay him nothing. I don't know about Mr. Ayers, but we want to let Mr. Ayers get his done.
I'm okay listening with Mr. Campbell.
Okay, yeah, you might be interested in that. You got a lot of property.
So I wanted to give a little update on the countywide reappraisal. So I created this little PowerPoint for your review. Tried to email that out, and we've got a little 2-minute video in there I thought was pretty important. Try to help explain what's going on. I've got my trusty sidekick here going to help me with some slides, so we'll go to the next page. It just kind of gives a brief, approximately 36,000 records.
Who's your trusty sidekick?
Right here, Tammy.
Oh, okay, I thought I was back in here.
Tammy's doing
Right,
it.
man, we're going in front.
Uh-huh.
So basically reappraisal, analysis of current information, new tables, models, schedules, rates, and depreciation. And currently, this reappraisal, our last one was 2017, so it's a 4-year update. what gives us the challenge is the Tennessee law. So TCA 67-5-1601 establishes our reappraisal program, and that's for updating, equalizing all property in the county. Obviously, under Article 2, Section 28 gives you guys the ability to levy property tax. The Constitution mandates taxation according to value, market value, and that's to ensure uniform and equal taxation. So let's go to a little video here, and in the PowerPoint I've got it in there twice, but it's only one link.
99% of people are living in
We get the wonderful YouTube video.
Can you turn it up?
Ad.
Great video.
Meet Steve. This is Steve's house, and this is Steve's property assessment notice. If you own property in Tennessee, it's the job of your county assessor to figure out how much it's worth. Depending on which county you're in, an updated value for your property is determined every 4, 5, or 6 years during a process called a reappraisal. And since property values generally go up over time, there's a good chance that your house, commercial property, or land will be appraised at a higher value. Steve's property has gone up in value, so what does this mean for his property taxes? Here's the good news. Higher values during a reappraisal do not necessarily mean higher taxes. Tennessee law requires the state work with your assessor and county mayor to adjust your property tax rate. So when appraisals go up, your tax rate goes down. It's known as the certified tax rate. The concept is simple. The new certified tax rate will generate the same amount of tax revenues for your city or county as the amount billed in the previous year. Let's say all of the properties in Steve's community increased in value by an average of 20%. Steve's house also increased 20%, but thanks to the certified tax rate, he should pay just about the same amount in property taxes he paid last year. The only way the certified tax rate can be exceeded is if Steve's County Commission or City Council decides to hold a public hearing and adopt a new, higher rate. When you receive a new property appraisal, it helps to understand how you're protected by the certified rate. But pay attention to your local government meetings to know if leaders are thinking about exceeding it. Remember, the assessor values your property, the county commission or city council determines how much you'll pay in taxes.
Look how happy Steve is.
So, moving right along to the next page, obviously, as assessor, I'm required to certify to you a assessed value of all taxable property. And so that includes all assessed value, including we have to break out new construction as well as the new personal property added to the roll. So that's a process that takes a little bit of time. This year, we are looking at substantial increases in market value. It's my fellow assessors, we're on the Zoom meeting and we're all under the same thing. East Tennessee is high demand. We have increased in property values based on increased construction cost. So basically what we're looking at, delivering to a tax roll with a certified tax rate. That certified tax rate will come later. The big one is, I want everybody to be aware, I think it was 2 years ago, I did a little, some grids graphs, and Tracy had contacted me this year and said, Mike, can you do it again? It was kind of informative. So the next few slides are the demographics of the county. So right here is a pie chart that breaks up 9 segments, residential being 74% of our total value. Obviously the commercial, industrial, commercial personal property, industrial personal property. We got some minor mineral interest, forestry's under 1%, ag's under 4%, and farms 1%. So obviously the residential's leading Loudon County as far as the value percentage. Let's go to the next slide. So when we break down, the assessment percentage, now we're jumping into unincorporated area versus incorporated. So unincorporated, 47%, Loudon City at 14, and Lenore City at 14. And for our 4 commissioners on this end, you might want to focus in on your Loudon City, Lenore City area, because they're both 14%, but I'm going to get to a couple slides down on how they're made up. Commissioner Cullen, we got Telco Village, about 24% of the assessment. This is when you take out the segment for unincorporated, obviously the residential is 83%. So that's breaking down the percentages and what the county's made up of. Let's see, I got past myself, let's see. Going to the next slide, Telco Village, 98% residential, 2% commercial. Obviously the Telco Village is a segment on its own, so we track it differently. The limited commercial versus the residential, obviously 98% is the residential that's the segment there. Now going on to Loudon City, I find it interesting. So residential 33%, commercial 17%, but where I think interesting is look at your industrial and your personal property. Personal property is typically your heavy industrial personal property. So your big manufacturing will build buildings, but they have more value in their personal property manufacturing equipment than they actually have in a building. So this is what I was doing, the comparison of Loudon City and Lenore City, and we'll go to the next slide. So you take Lenore City and see how it shifts, where commercial is 45%, residential at 43%, but the industrial drops way down, including the personal property. So they're very similar in value, but to get there, they're totally different. 321, shopping corridor, a lot of retail trade. When you think about Loudon City, you have the industrial park, Sugar Limb, and our big industrial companies. Greenback, 64% residential, 12% commercial, 3% industrial, some commercial property and ag. In Philadelphia, not to leave out Philadelphia, 73% residential, 9% commercial, and then the farm and ag, 17%. So as we speak, the mail is being processed, and we're sending out approximately 30,000 notices tomorrow. They'll hit the mail tomorrow. We'll start our informal appeals, phone calls, emails, walk-ins, and that will, we are anticipating that the notices will arrive on Friday. We'll start that process.
Is it a postcard?
No, we changed from postcard several years ago, 2012, we went to a letter format, and the letter 8.5 by 11 will be mailed out. And this year we've got a new assessment change notice. So obviously to the mailing addressee. And then I like this change notice that this year they're actually going to put the appraised value for the 21 and the previous appraised value.
That's
previously they omitted the appraised value, so it was a little harder to sit there and just look and say, well, it was appraised at this and it's going to this. By law, this is an assessment change notice, and the postcard that we've been accustomed to getting in the old letter concentrated on the assessment. Most everybody that call in, they don't understand the form. It's kind of quirky. So this year they've accommodated the request to put the values on there because people understand the values and not necessarily the assessment. But that information's on there. It's just to help out in the communication. So let's go to the next page. Certified tax rate and value of the penny. I'm looking forward to doing some more calculations, working with Tracy, the budget committee, and the rest of the county commission, but it's to come later. And because of the growth that we're seeing, I think it would be wise to be very patient and let the system work its way through. We could be heading to a certified tax rate that could be the lowest that Loudon County has ever seen. Our growth is phenomenal. I've got enough stats to choke a mathematician, but just some numbers I like looking at were last year, 2020, we had 1,162 residential sales on the MLS. March 4th, we had 75 homes listed on the MLS. Let's see what else we had. Jim Jenkins had reported your building permits. I think right now, this year, we're averaging 70 a month. And typically the January, February are lower or slower months, but I think it was 80 something like this March, I think was what we did in March. We processed a little over 3,000 warranty deeds, and we translate that into 1,816 sales that are accepted. That's 1,315 residential properties that transferred that we processed as an acceptable sale. So what way those numbers break down for you guys and me is 48% of those sales were in the unincorporated area, Loudon County. 27% Tellico Village, 12% in Loudon City, 12% in Little City. And that leaves about 1% for Greenback and Philadelphia. We break it down into where's the data. Tellico Village, 24% of the sales are in Tellico Village. Wind River was number 2 as far as a subdivision. Rarity Bay 3, Avalon 4. The Payne Map, which would be your Lenore City area, and Legacy Park and Loudon and Tennessee National topped out the top 7 subdivisions.
Are you gonna be able to share that with us? That's nice stuff to know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If you can email it to us, like, if you got it in a format of some kind, send that out. I'd love
I
to
just
read all that.
I just got it written down, so I can move.
Take
that
a
around.
picture and send it, however you wanna do it, don't matter. It's a high-tech world we live in.
Fax it to us.
Yeah.
We do have a fax machine. So, obviously, the big one is reappraisal. It's been a very interesting year, with the activity that we've got. I think we processed 489 new homes, so that's one of the segments that I want to break out to show you your growth. We always talk about the growth dollars, and we look at personal property as well. So this round of change notices is just the real estate. This is not the personal property, so we'll do that on the second mailing, and that'll be in May.
When these mailings go out, and we always have this, but we've never seen a change like we'll have this time. We're gonna get calls. Everybody's gonna be calling, oh my gosh, my property taxes. No, your property taxes didn't go up. It's your assessment, your property tax is going down, but the calls are inevitably gonna come, and they're gonna come heavy, and you think they'll hit when? Friday. So people have them in their mailbox
Get
over the
ready.
weekend. That's nice.
We adjusted our schedule. We were supposed to go at the end of the month, and due to the volume of change notices we're sending out, we pleaded to go early, and we didn't pick the actual date. I picked, it's either mail out today or tomorrow. We picked tomorrow. I want to give you guys the heads up, and so we're anticipating the mail will hit Thursday, Friday.
Is that after the angry calls from the postmaster?
We're gonna keep the postal guys, men and women busy with 8.5 by 11 notices, so.
That's a lot.
In the late 90s, there was a countywide survey done. Tracy was probably a part of that through the EDA. And the questionnaire that went out was, what do people want to see Loudon County be? that was a time when we could have gone a lot of different directions. And overwhelmingly, it came back. We like residential, we like rural, we like our country, community living type stuff. And at least some effort has been made to try to maintain that. My guess is another survey would come back very, very similar to that. And we now have the county portion, the unincorporated county portion, has zoning policies that it's irrefutable that it's been extraordinarily successful when you look at our property values and our residential growth. And obviously, Loudon County, we've put our anchor in residential. Loudon City's industrial, Lenore City's commercial. Outside in our part is residential. So it looks good, but calls are coming. No, your taxes didn't go up. Sit tight. It'll be all right. Mike Campbell's gonna raise your taxes. It won't be county commission. That's what you tell him.
The assessor sets the value and the county commission sets the rate.
That's right. It ought to be required that everybody in the county has to watch that video 2 or 3 times to understand what's fixing to happen.
It's a real neat video, and there's a lot of information in there, and I like the cartoon feel of it, but there's a lot of information in it that it's worth a time or two to process it.
They'd put that on
And
the
I've got a
county's
lot of effort, a lot of
webpage.
numbers
That's
and
what I
stuff.
was about to say, I think, Mr. Chairman, that would be a good idea
What's
if we.
going on there now?
You can go link to vanshaver.com. It's there already.
Van's got it up on his.
I got permission though. I didn't jump the shark. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, it emphasizes over and over. Assessor doesn't do it. Your assessment change doesn't do it. It's your county commissioners or your city council that raises your tax.
That's it.
We get it. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mike. I look forward to seeing when the final information is all pulled together.
Mike, do you have any idea? I know it says patient. Do you have any idea when we'll know the 2 big ones?
You just answered that.
Penny
You said
value and the
patience.
property tax rate. Mid-budget, end of budget, before we budget, Tracy Blair? During budget.
Okay. He said, be patient.
What he said.
You know what's gonna happen starting next Wednesday though.
I know. Okay, thank you, Mike. Tracy Blair.
Thank you, sir. The first item is consideration of recommendation to approve application and acceptance of 4 different grants. None of them have any matching funds requirement. The budget committee recommends approval of all of them.
Make a
No
motion.
matching funds. I'll entertain a motion to do all 4.
Make a
Brewster
motion to approve all 4.
Brewster made the motion.
Okay,
Second.
second. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Call the roll, Tammy.
Satterfield,
Aye.
Whitfield. Cullen,
Aye.
Duff,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Waller.
Aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears.
Aye.
Hurley.
Aye.
Tinker.
Aye. Okay, motion carries.
The next item on the agenda is consideration of recommendation to
Hold on.
approve a resolution authorizing the issuance of rural school refunding bonds in the aggregate principal amount of approximately $7.5 million. The Budget Committee recommends refunding our 2014 bond series. This was a series that was issued on behalf of the Board of Education for the School Building Program. It was originally structured at 20 years, paying off in 2035 with an interest of 2.67%. But the recommended refunding reduces it by 5 years, so it will pay out in 2030 with an interest of 1.23%. So the reduced interest rate and the shortened length of time creates a savings for the county of $1.1 billion. Included in your packet was a response from the comptroller's office and a report from the comptroller. The refunding plan, the preliminary refunding analysis, a draft copy of the resolution was all included in your packet of information. And Joe Ayers with Cumberland Securities is present, our financial advisor, if you have any additional questions. The Budget Committee recommends approval.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, with Tracy Blair's support of this, I'll make a motion, we approve the refinance.
Second on the motion.
okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any questions from Mr. Ayers or anybody? Okay, call the roll, Tammy.
Whitfield,
Aye.
Cullen,
Aye.
Duff,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears,
Aye.
Hurley,
Aye.
Tinker,
Aye.
Satterfield.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is consideration of recommendation to approve a statutory bond for the Director of Accounts and Budgets.
Make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, call the roll, Tammy.
Cullen,
Aye.
Duff,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears,
Aye.
Hurley,
Aye.
Tinker,
Aye.
Satterfield,
Aye.
Whitfield.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next item is consideration of recommendation to approve amendments, the ones that were reviewed and recommended by the Budget Committee are for Fund 101, 115, 131, and General Capital Projects Fund 171.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we approve all four, as presented.
Second.
We got a second. Any further discussions?
That was Satterfield.
Okay, call the roll, Tammy.
Duff,
Aye.
Shaver,
Aye.
Waller,
Aye.
Brewster. Aye. Mears,
Aye.
Hurley.
Aye.
Tinker,
Aye.
Satterfield,
Aye.
Whitfield,
Aye.
Cullen.
Aye. Okay, next one's up, is 142.
Yes, this item is the item that was added to the agenda. You received a copy of the spreadsheet in your packet of information. It was not reviewed by the Budget Committee, but the Board of Education requests consideration this evening. I received a phone call from one of the commissioners today that I would like to explain one thing, just in case others notice the difference. Typically, amendments appear in the proposed amendment column, and I know that this one does not. It's presented as an original budget. I'm guessing because it was approved like that by the state, because I know the state has to approve this, and it's a new sub-fund in Fund 142. But this sub-fund, it's sub-fund number 938, Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief. This is the amendment that you are considering that needs to be added to our budget. Of course, the revenues, total revenue budget, total expense budget are commensurate. They're the same, as is true with all the grants, all the projects in Fund 142. And the Director of Schools is here if you have any additional questions regarding the grant or its purpose.
Mike, do you have anything you want to add to it?
Mr. Chairman, let me do this. I'll make a motion, we approve it. This has already been passed by them.
Okay,
This is one of those things that we kind of snicker about in the Budget Committee, neither here nor there. I have some questions, not as far as, I wouldn't vote for it, it's not that. I just need to understand the process. So I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve this.
Second motion.
okay, we got a second from Commissioner Whitfield. Okay, now you can open it up.
All right, Mr. By the way, he lives in the 5th District. He's a top-notch guy, that guy right there is. And it's really just for my own trying to understand. This was the Estra, whatever, 2.0. We still got 3.0 to go, right?
Yep.
This is straight Fed money. Not Fed through state, but straight from the Feds, right?
Feds through the state.
It is through state.
And it is reimbursable, so we'll have to have cash flow.
Right. That's what I figured. You got the cash flow for it?
We're gonna work on that tomorrow.
Within this is a one-time grant, and we're gonna pretend that 3.0 is not even coming, and we're just gonna call this a one-shot thing, because sooner or later, this free money's gotta run out. But we got $3 million coming in, and down on the very first page, in 71-100, and if anybody's looking for it, it's lines 722 and 723. There's 440 and 425, 440 and 425 dollars in salaries and other wages and in teacher wages. Is this money going to supplant current money? This isn't hiring new people. We're not hiring this many people coming in, right?
Not, well,
let me tell you, what I'm getting at is I don't want next year,
I don't understand.
we hired $600,000, $800,000 worth of people, sorry, we gotta have money for it.
Yeah, it's not reoccurring, and I'm well aware of that.
Right,
And let me too say, I appreciate what commission does, and my first prong, when we looked at these funds, was what are some needs that we have that we would have to ask commission for to fulfill those needs? And those, if they're allowable, are the first things to go in here. And one of the biggest ticket items in here are reading textbooks, because we had a textbook adoption. I didn't ask commission for that money last year because we were in the middle of the pandemic, so I was gonna come back and ask you for that this year. That's about $750,000, and I know Van would want our kids to have reading books. So I know you would have done that, but that's in this, so I don't have to ask you for that. That's one time, non-recurring, and I wrote it in here, one of the, there's lots of strings attached, but one is addressing learning loss. So as part of learning loss, I said we needed high-quality instructional materials in reading, so that's how I looped that in there. That's a way to get it in there. To answer your specific question on that, the state gave us about 3 to 4 weeks to turn this application around. You're going to see some amendments on this application. What you're specifically talking about is if we have, and I don't know where the summer's going to take us, but if we have to continue any type of virtual instruction next year, that's what that's going to find. So if we have to do it one more year, I would want to phase it out. I want to phase it out this year, but I don't know what the summer's going to bring. So depending on, if we see another surge and we have to go back and do some virtual next year, then that's what that would fund. So it wouldn't have to come from county money.
but there's no new staffing coming in on none of this.
There's no new staffing. I'm paying for some nurses and some counselors to run in our state's requiring us to do a summer camp, summer school, and they didn't provide any funding for nurses or counselors, so I'm running that out of here.
Well, you've got 40,000 for the guidance personnel and 40,000 for medical personnel. Is that going to existing
Yes.
personnel then?
Yes.
No new.
No new. Now, I will tell you that, when I amend it, we've saw a lot of mental health issues this year.
I'm
And
sure.
we really don't have the capacity to do that, so I may amend it to add an additional social worker, just so you're aware. But it would be to meet the post-COVID stress. It wouldn't be you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't ask the county to pick that up we'd figure out a way to pick it up if we needed it past these couple of years here.
Mike, are we going back to the textbooks and so forth? And I know we've talked about this before, and we talked about it when I still took school about, we buy paper textbooks that have a limited lifespan. But we've also discussed not doing that and going technology, buying where you can use your laptop and iPad. And I know that's expensive, but also buying books is expensive. Are we going to eventually get to the technology part where we're not?
It's kind of a monopoly, just to be honest with you.
I know how that, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting the paper and the electronic version. There's about $5 difference. If we went all electronic, it would be the same as going all paper. You do them together, you're $5 difference. So we always get them both. So if we need to go remote, we've got the electronic, or teachers want to access that, plus we've got the paper.
Now,
Particularly in reading, I'm very fond of paper.
Are they giving you, when you're doing both, are they giving you all the bells and whistles that go with the book electronically with the kids?
Depending on it's like everything else when you buy a car, what kind of features you want. But yeah, we get what we need.
And also, and I don't know if you've looked at it down the road as far as if you go technology and you buy the books online, or for better word, is it going to eventually cut down the cost instead of having to buy the whole thing over again where they can just update?
Only if they lower the threshold for the electronic adoption. And what we're buying here is a 6-year adoption. The state does an adoption every 6 years. So this will be paper and electronic for 6 years. And just as a footnote to that, and I know he didn't want to talk about ESSER 3, but in ESSER 3, I'm writing in math textbooks because I'll be able to purchase them during the adoption year that those are due, so that'll save $800,000 that I won't have to come ask you for. So, but yeah, we're trying to maximize that bill as much as we can. But the other thing we face, and we've been blessed when we've been in person all year. If you want to come to school, you could come the first day, and you're still in today, and we've not closed or gone hybrid, but if you wanted to do virtual, you could. But if we did have to go all remote, there's still lots of places in this county that doesn't have internet that would support that electronic option. So and I know the state's working on that issue as well, but we're gonna have to kind of see that come up, and we're gonna have to see the textbook publishers start dropping electronic prices before we move the direction that you're talking about.
I just know that is a repetitive cost, and of course, with textbooks, like, I was a social studies history teacher, and, you know, the history books become obsolete before they before they came to the end of their cycle. And I didn't know if they were going to provide any kind of saving where you could buy technology and just do updates instead of having to buy the car again.
They've not yet, and part of that issue is textbook companies have bought out each other, and there's really only 2 or 3 good players anymore.
I didn't mean to
Mike,
prolong the meeting, but I just.
I do have a question. I noticed on your technology line, and you've got other equipment at $529,000. Is that where you're putting in the virtual, or are you putting that under the?
I'm buying additional student laptops, teacher laptops, because the other thing we noticed during the remote period is that a lot of our teachers don't have up-to-date
Exactly.
equipment to match the students. So between this money and ESSER 1.0, I hope to replace all the teacher laptops in the county, and I hope to have all of our older laptops out of service with this money. So that's what you're seeing there, plus some additional iPads for our K2. And that's money too that I would have had to come and ask for, and it's a need.
So have we just about got everybody? I mean, I'm saying everybody is one-to-one.
Everybody is one-to-one, it's just what kind of device, how old is the device they have. And we're starting to have, you really need to replenish those every 4 years.
Oh, yes,
To
of
stay
course.
current. So.
Mr. Chairman,
Well,
Yes.
I'm glad to see that. I'm glad to see that the teachers are getting theirs replaced too, and moving all the students through.
I'd like to address this, and I'd like to bring something. There was an article last week in the News Sentinel that made a statement that Nashville and Davidson County are suing the school or the state because right now, currently, I think the state provides only 49% of the total educational needs for the state for children. And they're apparently coming at it very strong. And what I'd like to do is during the budget process and all through at different times, and that could be arranged through the mayor's office and Chairman Cole, periodically meeting with us and letting us know what's going on. And I've talked to Tracy briefly, and after the budget is set this year, I'd like to start a planning looking at education, looking at public safety, and 1 or 2 other areas. And I'm not talking about having a bunch of things. I'm talking about maybe 2 or 3 different things. Because education, Dennis Rowe made the statement, that's one thing. If we can get a good vocational program, education is something that people look at in industry, vocational. These things, and I think if we can do this and do it in a slow manner, it would certainly help us understand each other, and I think it would be a better working relationship, not only with education, but all other departments as well in the county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And I am an open book, so wherever y'all know, I will tell you that, to go along with what you're saying, we're trying to get these in the hands of realtors. I've already sent one development and asked if they could share some information with prospective people wanting to buy there about our schools. So this is a nice little thing that highlights all of our schools, what some of the great things that are going on there. So you guys help fund our schools and our success. So this is sharing some of our success. So anytime somebody says something bad about school, you can pull this out and say, no, that's not right.
Did our schools do
Mike.
this?
Huh?
Did our schools do this?
Mike,
They assisted, yes, sir.
I would like to say I'm glad to see this. I know you and I had this conversation about this on several occasions, so.
And we actually produced this last year, but COVID hit right as we printed them. So, and I only print what we need because I don't want to waste any county money, but I did want to make sure that you had these, and if you have some we'll get them to the chamber, and obviously, if
Well
any
done.
realtors or anybody wants those, we'll
Look
get
at
those.
Greenback's athletic accomplishments, man. It takes up half the page.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Is there any other
My
questions?
last question was, and you've hit on 2 or 3 lines right here when you was using the phrase, so I don't have to come and ask county commission for it. Out of 2.0, how much do you think you were able to use of that grant money that will not have to come from new money or even from your own funds?
Going back to what you said, it's one-time, non-recurring, so it's those needs, that one-time needs, so really in our operational budget.
No, I'm not talking, I'm, like your textbooks, you saved nearly $700,000, there's 700,000.
Yeah.
But going down through there and the line items that you have, it's
Okay.
other contract, this, I mean, one time again, but there still should have been a large savings.
Some other examples is allowable use under this is HVAC and air quality within the schools. So, there's 140,000 in here to replace some HVAC units at the school that I don't have to put into AFT to come and ask
There you
you
go.
for. There's a backup generator in here for our technology center, and the reason we're doing that is whenever the power goes out at Loudon County Technology Center, we lose phones and internet in every one of our schools. That's a safety issue.
Sure.
So we're putting in a generator there, so if the power goes out, we can maintain safety in the schools, keep our phones up, keep our internet going for our virtual learning. So it's those type things that we've never really been able to afford, but that we've always needed,
Sure.
that I'm trying to address.
Right.
And not have to come ask you for that, asking you for increases in normal operations. But some of these big ticket items like math textbooks, I would come to you in 2 years and said, I need almost $1 million.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
went
that's-
back and forth, and then, but this, we can
Fantastic.
drop it in there. So yes, we're saving the county money, but not in the operational budget because it's.
Oh, yeah,
non-recurring.
what have you heard, will 3.0 be similar to this with its streams? And again, if what, 6.7 million?
It's 6.7 million, yes, and it's all the same uses as 2.0 with additional strings. For instance, 20% of it, which is $1.2 million, I have to spend on after-school tutoring or summer learning. That's not how I wanna spend $1.2 million, but that's.
That'd be hard to do.
Yes.
It'd be hard to do.
That's how we'll have to do it, but I mean, Shelby County's getting $500 million, so they'll have to
Best
figure out how to
kids
spend
in.
$100 million on it, so.
Unbelievable.
I'm not complaining.
But the Fed money's always this way. The Fed comes with huge strings and it has,
Huge money.
I mean, the steps you gotta go through, Tracy Blair, I know she's done it, but it's just a nightmare dealing with federal money.
To spend that much money in the summer program, we'd have to bus kids in from other counties.
All over the state, I guess.
Unbelievable.
That's a lot of.
And what you don't use, you forfeit, or if you don't use all of it, would you forfeit all of it, or just what you don't
we
use?
It's reimbursable, so what we don't use though, we
Right.
allocate to districts. But,
Well, that'll be a big cash flow issue for that one.
3.0 I can spread over, 1.0 is this year.
Right.
The year we're sitting in. 2.0 I have this year and next year to spend. 3.0 I have this year, next year, and the next. So I can spread it out over, that's why I'm able to get that text. So we're planning 3 years ahead
Right.
with money, with this money, with 3.0, and we're planning 2 years ahead with this to make sure that we can control that.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Any
Think y'all
further
done good.
questions for Mike?
Hash it out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Job well done. Okay, if there's no further discussion on it, call the roll, Tammy.
Shaver, Waller,
Aye.
Brewster,
Aye.
Mears,
Aye.
Hurley,
Aye.
Tinker.
Because I'm an employee of the Board of Education, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience, my obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. Aye.
Satterfield,
Aye.
Whitfield, Cullen,
Aye.
Duff.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Like I'm in the Navy.
And finally, I was not able to distribute a summary financial statement. We are doing a software conversion in our department, and the conversion was still going on, so I couldn't log into our system. So I'll distribute that report next month. However, I did distribute, copies of the January and February budget committee meeting minutes prior to the meeting.
Thank you, Tracy.
What's the E?
That's what we just did.
That's the statutory bond. It was duplicate.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Tracy
You know,
sent
it was
to
C and
me.
E, that's, I thought we missed something else we need to do.
No.
Okay, I messed up.
Tracy's spending them bonds fast as we
New
can get there, it
statues
looks
at the
like.
courthouse.
What?
New statues at the courthouse.
I think that's a good idea. We can get it where we get the courthouse done, I promise you.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay, Tracy, done?
Well, any of them, yeah, the Confederate.
Okay,
yeah.
Commissioner Mears.
Mr. Chairman, we have before us a list of 18 names
Second.
tonight, notaries to be elected on April 5th, 2021. I would make a motion that we
Second.
approve this.
We got a motion and a second.
I want to watch a ball game.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, I'll consider an adjournment.
I would like to say one thing. I would like to have all commissioners take a look around since no one noticed.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
all we noticed when we came in.
we know.
The commission room has been painted. Got on that project, got this room painted. It looks very nice.
Could you
Look
send them up
forward
my
to
house?
seeing some new and improved changes also take place.
Fixed.
Good job.
And Tammy got the cabinet drawer fixed over here.
It was
It's
causing
been
me a
broken
fuss.
for 6-8 years. We're
We're
on roll.
moving ahead.
Make a motion with Jeremy, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Second.
okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, we're done.
Give me the key, Tammy.
What do you need?
Okay.
All in